I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on matrix. We'll talk about multiplication of matrix with some examples in this particular video. So I'm going to keep it very short and crisp. Let us try to understand the basic concept. If we have two matrices, let's say matrix A and B, we can multiply them. That means we could have product of these two only if their dimensions are such. Let's say if the matrix A has dimensions m by p, then the matrix B should have dimensions p by n. So what is important to understand here is that the number of columns of the first should be same as the number of rows of the second, right? So if that is the case, then only you can multiply and you will get the product of this matrix, and the dimensions of this matrix will be m into n. Do you understand? M by n. Correct? So that is the base. Now we'll look into the details of how to multiply. Let's try to understand the three examples here. That is general. We know this is matrix which is 2 by 3, right? And here we have 3 by 4, correct? So we get a matrix C here whose dimensions will be what? 2 by 4, correct? Which will be 2 by 4, correct? Now in this case we have a matrix which has only one row but 3 columns, right? It's a row matrix. So 1 by 3, and here we have taken a column matrix, correct? So there are 3 rows here and 1 column. So when we multiply them, what do we get? So in this case the product C will be 1 by 1, correct? Now here is another example in which we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, right? So we have a matrix which is 4 by 3. Now when you multiply this with this one, which is 3 rows by 1, the end result will be 4 times 1. 4 by 1, I should say. You get the idea. So one thing important here is to see the number of columns of the first should match the number of rows of the second. Only then you can do multiplication. Second, the dimensions will be then equal to rows of the first and columns of the second, as we have seen. Perfect. Now with that basic knowledge, let's take up the example and understand the details. How to really multiply, correct? So in this example, we have a 2 by 3 matrix, correct? Which is being multiplied. Let me write like this, okay? It should not be written like this, but anyway, we'll multiply this by another one, which is 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, correct? So you know the rules. You'll get, this is possibility of multiplication, and that is the result. We get 2 by 4 as our answer, right? So that is how it is going to be. So in short, let me write these matrices again, and then we are going to multiply and get the result. So let me rewrite this. So what we have here is a 2 by 3, which is 2, 1, minus 1, minus 3, 0, and 1. Okay. We are going to multiply this, nothing in between means multiplication, right? By another one, which will be kind of 1, 0, 1, 0, minus 2, 0. And then we have 2, 1, 1, 1, minus 2, minus 1, sorry. Okay. Minus 1, 2, 2, and 0. I have taken very simple values so that we could do our operations without wasting much time. Right, okay. Now what do you expect here? Since we expect 2 by 4, right? So these are the 2 columns, 2 rows, and those are the 4 columns. So we expect something which will be kind of like this, right? So we have 2 by 4, right? So these are the 2 rows, right? And each row will have 4 elements. You get an idea, right? So these are the elements, right, inside. So that is going to be our answer. How do we get each of these elements? Well, the process is kind of like this. We can pick up the row number. So for example, this is second row, right? Let's say we pick up this row. And if we multiply the second row with the third column, right? So if we multiply the second row with the third column, where am I going to get the result? Well, the second row and the third column, we'll get the result here. You get the idea. So that is how each row and column will be multiplied, and then you get your result. Does make sense to you? Correct? So as an exercise, you could do this. Here, let me show you the one which I have marked here. So what will be the number here? The number here will be minus 3 times minus 2. Let's write down here. Minus 3 times minus 2 plus 0 times 1 plus 1 times 2. Correct? So that becomes minus becomes plus 6. This is 0. And that is 2. So we get the number 8 here. You get the idea. So that is how we are getting each and every number here. Correct? Now I hope you understand the process. So let's begin by doing some basic arithmetic. So to get the element here, what should I do? I should multiply the first row with the first column. Correct? So we'll do 2 times 1. So we'll write here 2 times 1 plus 1 times 2, 1 times 2 plus minus 1 times minus 1 times minus 1. Correct? So in that case, we'll get this result, which is 2 plus 2, 4 plus 1, 5. So 5 will come in this position. Do you understand? Now if I do first row with second column, where will the result go? First row and second column will actually go in first row and second column. You get the idea. Correct? So in that case, at this position, what number should come? 2 times 0 plus 1 times 1 plus minus 1 times 2. So we get 2 plus 1, 3. 3 minus 2 as 1. So we'll get number 1 here. You get an idea? Correct? Now, if I multiply the second row with the last column, then I will get number where? 2, 4. Do you see that? So that number will go into this position. So if I multiply this with that, then I should get a number there, right? So what number should be there? Let's do it. So we have minus 3 times 0 plus 0 times 1 plus 1 times 0, and that gives you minus 3. So we get minus 3 here. So I hope you have understood the whole process. Correct? So apply this method to fill this up. Simple. So you can actually pause the video, fill this up, and then check with my solution. Correct? Now let's fill up this number here. Now to fill this up, this is the second row, first column. So we'll multiply these two. Do you understand? We'll multiply these two. So let's do it. So we get minus 3 times 1 plus 0 times 2 plus 1 time, we want to fill this, plus 1 times minus 1. Correct? So we get what? Minus 3 plus 0 minus 1, which is minus 4, right? So we get minus 4 here. Is that clear to you? So like that, we could actually fill this up. Now, just to explain, I went in different ways. However, you should follow a process, correct? So when you take up the first row, multiply first row with each column, right? Then take up the second row and multiply with each column to fill up the second place. Is that clear to you? So that is how you should be doing. I hope you have understood the process of multiplication in matrix. So I'd like you to now pause the video, complete this multiplication, and check with my solution. On a fresh page, I'll again show you how to multiply matrix, correct? So we'll take up question number 1 once again. So let's see how to really multiply them, okay? So we actually begin with the very first row to begin with, and you multiply each column with the first row. So we'll actually start with the first row and we'll multiply one by one to each column. So what do we get? So we get 2 times 1 plus 1 time 2 plus minus 1 time minus 1. Good. So we'll add this up. So this is 2 plus 2, 4, and that becomes plus 1, 5, right? Minus, minus. So after doing the multiplication, we'll actually write down our result as equal to, let me write down here, equal to, what do we expect? We expect a matrix which will be 2 rows, right? So we have a matrix which has 2 rows and 4 columns. Good? That's what we expect. So we'll have 1, 2. That's what we expect, correct? So the first value which we have got here will get into this. Is that clear to you? Right? Now again, we'll multiply with the second column of the second matrix. So we have these numbers, right? Think like this. We have these 3 numbers. They get multiplied with 0, 1, 2, right? What do you get? This is 0, this is 1, this is minus 2. So we get minus 1. Where will you put it? This time we use this one. So we'll put here minus 1. Is that clear to you? Simple as that, correct? So again, we are going to do the same thing. So we are going to multiply the first row with the third column. Third column members are, the elements are minus 2, 1 and 2. Minus 4 plus 1 gives us minus 3, and minus 3 minus 2 gives us minus 5, right? So we get minus 5. Then the next one. So again, I'm first writing all my elements. Now this is a good method to do, right? Faster. 0, 1, 1. 0, 1, 0, right? Okay. So that is 0. This is 1. This is 0. So 1. Do you see that? So it doesn't really take much time. It's very simple. Now let's do with the second row. So when I'm going to multiply each with second row, each column with second row, right? We'll get this filled up, right? So let's see. So we have now minus 3 plus we get 0 times something plus 1 times something, correct? And we'll write a result. So first 1, 2 minus 1. 1, 2 minus 1. So that gives us minus 3. This gives us minus 1, that is 0. So we get minus 4 and we get minus 4 here. Now again, we'll do this minus 3, 0 and 1 we need to multiply with the second column of our matrix, which is 0, 1, 2, right? 0, 1, 2. So this is 0, this is 0, this is 2. So we get our answer as 2. Do you see how easy it is, right? So it's not difficult at all. Once you get used to this, you will actually adopt this method to do multiplication as far as the equations are concerned. So third column, minus 2, 1, 2, right? Minus 2, 1, 2. So minus and minus makes it plus 6. And that is 2. So they get 8 here. 8 goes there. The last one, minus 3, 0. So, sometimes when you move from here to there, you may mess up, right? So therefore, I prefer to, be very clear. 0, 1, 0, right? So 0, 1, 0. Now multiply. 0, 0, 0. So we get 0 here. Is that clear to you? Correct. Anyway, you can do sometimes mistakes in all this, which I might have also done. However, the idea here is to see that each row should be picked up, multiplied with each column, right? So, once again, if I pick up, for example, first row And let us say if I multiply with this column, where should I get the result? First row, second column. I should get my result here. Does it make sense to you? Correct? You could do directly. 2 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. And this is minus 2. 1 and minus 2 is minus 1. Is that clear? So that is how you do it. I hope it is absolutely clear. Follow this method and then practice some questions from your book. I think that'd be great. Now let's take some examples, right? So here is a very interesting example where we'll see how we can use matrix. This is like counting money. Just think about a situation that I have some coins in my, pocket. Okay. So I count them up. So I say, well, I have got these coins. So I got a big coin like this. I got some small coins like this and some small coins like this. And I say, well, I have 10 of these kinds. I have 5 of these and 3 of this, right? You have to tell me the total amount. You need to find, the question is, find total amount. So that is a case of multiplication. Do you see that? And using matrix, that is how we show, as you can see here on the right side. So think about it like this. So this becomes the value of each coin, right? So this becomes the value of each coin, right? So for example, 25 cents is the value for quarters, correct? So let's say we have quarters here. We have dimes. And we have cents, or pennies, you can say, right? Or pennies. Okay, so we have 10 quarters. So these are our quarters, right? These are our dimes, and these are our pennies, or you can say cents, okay? Now, the value of each quarter is 25. The value of each dime is 10 cents. And for each penny is 1 cent, right? So let me call it pennies, P. Okay. Okay. So anyway, you understand. So how do I find the amount? Well, clearly, you are going to find the amount by multiplying 10 by 25, correct? Plus 5 by 10 and 3 by 1. You say, well, this is 250 cents and this is 50 cents and this is 3 pennies, right? So the total amount is equal to 303 cents or pennies, right? Which is in dollars, you can say 3.03. Does it make sense to you? So do you see in normal life how we actually use matrix? So that is how we could actually write down our answers. So the result will be here kind of written like this, which will say, well, this is the product, which is 250 here. 5 times 10 is 50, and 3 times 1 is 3, and just add them up. Do you see that? And what do you get? You get a value which is 303. Does it make sense? Yes, it does. See, this one was a matrix. What type of matrix? What is the dimension of this? It has only 1 row but 3 columns. And this one has 3 rows and 1 column. So when you combine, what do you get? You get 1 by 1. And here you have 1 by 1 matrix. Do you see that result? So that is how we see we could actually multiply matrix in many situations. Now the beauty of this is that actually I could say, well, my friend's pocket and other relatives. Why? I could actually expand this and write, if I know the number of coins, then how do I get the value? So one formula kind of thing helps to find the value. So that is the flexibility by which we are working now when we talk about matrix. Is that clear to you? Right? So a very related example, which you see many times when Olympics are there, think about getting medals, right? So in this case, I would like you to pause the video, and in the given situation, I would like you to say that, well, this is my product of matrix, right? I would like you to relate it to a real life situation. Correct? So try to relate this to a real life situation. I pause the video for some time and then look into my solution. That will be interesting. I hope you must have got many situations for this kind of a matrix. Here is the one. I'm thinking about the medals. Let's think about gold, silver, and bronze. Okay, so you could think, well, these are the countries on this side, right? So we have a matrix which represents medals for countries, right? So we have a first matrix which says medal tally for countries. And that could be points, for example, correct? So we could say that, well, these are my countries, A, B, C, D. And these are my points for gold, silver, and bronze. Then, using this matrix, we can find points for each country. You get the idea, right? So what you notice here is that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, 4 rows at present with 3 columns. On the other side, we have 3 rows with 1 column. So when you multiply, we can multiply since the columns and rows are matching for these matrices. So the result will be, of course, 4 by 1. That is going to be the result, correct? So in this case, can you find the result? Yes, we can. Very simple, right? So now let's write down the result for this. So what do we expect? We just expect that there are 4 rows, right? We have 4 rows here and just 1 column, right? 1 column for each, a big column. So the first country A gets 10 times 3 plus 3 times 2 plus 2 times 1. Is that clear? The second country, number of points, 5 golds means 5 times 3 plus 0 times 2 plus 1 times 1, right? Then we get 3 times 3 plus 5 times 2 plus 2 times 1, and then what do we get? 1 times 3 plus 0 times 2 plus 1 times 1. Is that clear? Right. Now we can add them up and write down the result. So we got points wise 36 and 2, 38 points. Correct? This should be longer. So here we have 15 and 1, 16 points, correct? And then we have 9 and 10, which makes it 19, and 2, which makes us 21. And then we have 3 plus 1, 4 points, right? So that becomes our matrix. Let me just make a better one here. So for each country, that is the tally of the points. The major advantage with this kind of a model here is that we could actually add more and more countries to this. Do you understand? And so we'll get their points. So we just took top 4 in this particular example, but there is no limit. So it's a very flexible kind of a spreadsheet for you. You understand? So that is a huge advantage of matrices. So we'll take up more examples related to multiplication, but I hope in this very first video on the process of multiplication, you have understood how powerful it is, and it may look difficult to begin with, but it's very simple once you get the hold of it. Feel free to write a comment, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.